Welcome back to Life Between the Young Eye. And if you are new, welcome. I am Sid. This is Life Between the Young Eye, where I talk about challenges, problems, situations that young people go through currently in this society as we are living in the 21st century. So thank you for joining if you have. If not, then you're missing out on good quality content that could benefit your life 10 years from now. But anyway, um, this specific topic for today, as you read by the title, situationships. And what I mean by that, fake relationships. Basically, especially with this generation, um, 20 Gen Z, Gen whatever letter it is, MHOP, but I think it's Gen Z. Um, yeah, it's a thing now. It wasn't before, but now it is. And before I dive into it, I meant I'm going to give you the definition of it so you won't be as confused. So what a situationship is kind of like less than a relationship, but more of a casual encounter or basically a booty call. Um, it's it can be a relationship, but it's not a fully committed relationship, if that makes sense. It's kind of like infatuation. It's like for the moment, right? You might find that person attractive, right? But you don't see yourself long term with that person, or you don't want to be with that person. You just want them for what they have and not what's on the inside, basically. And what I've seen around social media and in reality, I've honestly don't think I've seen an actual relationship in a long time, if we're just being honest, so, including myself. Um, all it is just fantasy. It's like a fantasy, you know. It's like you like the person, right? But it's only from, I guess, from a positive aspect, if that makes sense. So what I mean, you don't like the person for their true qualities, right? You don't like them for the bad part. You only want them for the good part. But as soon as, I guess, the bad part starts to come out, well, not really the bad part, but they're not the best of their self, not their best version. When something less than that comes out, you want to leave, because you don't want to go through that, or you don't have to talk about it, or you don't want to have to, be that person that they talk to all the time about their issues. And I get it; it can be draining. Don't get me wrong. I've been there, done that. With the person, I'm not going to say the name because I am respectful. Um, but it's not real, you know. Like I said earlier, it's a booty call. And what our generation is, it's sad because we don't commit anymore. Well, I'm not going to say we because for myself, I do, but I can't speak for others. But from what I've seen, we we don't commit anymore. It's you say you're loyal, but then you have like 20 guys or 20 girls in your DM sending you, sexting you, sending you nudes, flirting with them, booty calls, and all that crap. And it's like, well, what's the purpose of saying that you're in a relationship? Deep down, before you get in a relationship that you might cheat or you might want to talk to other women, right? So, what is the point of women or men? So, what is the point of committing yourself to one person knowing that you might hurt their feelings because they might actually have attraction towards you and actually want to be with you versus you being straight up saying, hey, this is what I want, this is what I'm looking for, this is what I'm going to do while in the relationship. So before we even advance to the next step, here are my inquiries. And if you tell the person from straight up from the beginning, I mean, yeah, it'll suck, but at least no one will get hurt because they will be expecting that. And if they choose to still be in a relationship with you, that's on them because you told them and they still accepted what you wanted. Now, if they don't accept it, that's good for them. You know what I mean? But even it, I don't know. Relationships these days are just they're not real. They're not. It's like a game almost in a sense. Because like I said, we're young. You know, they don't know. You don't know what you really want when you're young. I mean, it's some out there. Don't get me wrong. You have some relationships out there that are very rare. Some high school sweethearts, or they met in their early 20s, and they're still going on strong. Don't get me wrong. There are people out there, and I commend you guys for that. Like I really do. I wish that happened to all of us, but especially with the toxicity. Is that even a word? The toxicness. I'm just gonna say that the toxicness that's going on, and social media plays a big role in this. I mean, this is a podcast for another time, but social media plays a big part of it, man. What we see online, video games, books, even people, school, definitely school. We see this with our eyes and portrays it as normal when it's really not. We just made it so common that it seems normal, but it's not supposed to be normal, and it's creating this false sense of um acceptance. Like it's like a habit. Like if we have accepted this as our habit, now we're going to do this with every person that we meet, knowing that we may or may not hurt their feelings, but we will take that chance to get what we selfishly desire. And I don't think that is right. I think that is wrong. I myself have done that before. I was younger. I'm still young, but I was younger. I was in high school. I've learned from from my mistakes, and I don't plan on doing that anymore. But that's basically what it's come to. And there's no love. This, like, what is love anymore? You know what I mean? Because love is everything. Love is more than just physically. You know, it's more than physicality. It's emotional. It's mentally. It's spiritually. It's everything. It don't. No, I'm not saying love is the issue, and I'm not saying love is the answer to a strong relationship. Love is not the answer to a strong relationship. Is it? It is a it's one of the aspects to having a good relationship. You need love. I mean, without it, I mean, there is no relationship. You know what I mean? But it's not the only thing. It's not the main thing. It's not the glue to it, if that makes sense. But at the same time, we will never be able to find that glue because our generation, I want to say our because not everybody here listening will be my generation, but Generation Z, you want to call it, will not give that a chance because they don't want to. They don't know how to. They weren't taught. We were grown up in a technological era, right? You see what I mean? So we have access to talk to multiple people at once, whereas 50, 60 years ago, you didn't have that option. And, whoever you had the opportunity to talk to, that was your only choice. I wouldn't say that was your only choice, but you were limited to people you could talk to. So you will settle down, right? If that makes sense. So, and that's why love was so strong back then. People, it was real. like genuinely, authentically real because of no social media, no phones, laptops, TVs, all this nonsense that's going on in the world right now. And don't get me wrong, things were going on back then. Don't get me wrong, but is it? It's worse now. Definitely worse. And what what I don't understand is when I don't understand. I mean, this is a little off topic, but it has to do with situationships, but it's like a subtopic. Requirements. Um, you know, needs of what people want. For instance, hopefully no one gets offended when I say this, but it's 2023, so they will. Um, for instance, let's just say a woman, right? And I'm not saying any woman. I'm not saying a specific woman. I'm just saying talking about women in general. And I'm not saying this is all women. It's a certain type of women. Um, when they want to talk to a man, they have all these requirements, right? They want a man with and this is Generation Z that we're talking about, right? So hear me out. They want a man with, or I guess a guy with a six-figure income, take them out to eat to expensive restaurants, buy them expensive items, treat them like a quote unquote queen when really you just want the money. Um, basically, it's more on materialistic things than the actual person itself. And they're listing these requirements as if you have them yourself. Now, if you have them yourself, sure, I get it. But you're talking about a 25-year-old or 20-year-old, and you expect them to have a six-figure income, buy you Versace, take you out to an expensive restaurant. Like, we just got out of high school. What do you expect from me? You know what I mean? But, and you say that, but you're working at McDonald's or you drive a 2003 Nissan. Nothing wrong with that, but I'm just saying, you got to know where your limits are. You know what I mean? You just can't, you can't, how do I say this? What is a good uh example I can use? Shrek. We all love Shrek. We all know Shrek. In the end, obviously, Shrek and Fiona, they worked out. But you can't be Shrek and try to get a Fiona. It just won't work out. Okay? Now, it can if it's based on the right uh requirements, not materialistic things. Now, if they were asking, "Hey, this is what I'm looking for in a man," right? Um, intellectual, reasonable, um, a good personality, sense of humor, um, you're somewhat positive about yourself. You want something, you want a goal, and you're working to get that goal, right? At least have a. You don't have to have an idea. You just have to have a drive. Now, if a woman said that, that would be totally different, and maybe we would have less breakups and less divorces than we do now. But then again, at the same time, men got to change too, because men nowadays go. I said nowadays though. Men nowadays they're lazy. I'm sorry. I'm just being honest. Men are lazy these days. Women are too. Don't get me wrong. We both are. Men and women have just become lazy in general, which affects relationships, right? Because it's not our fault that we become lazy, but we have all these access and advantages that 60 years ago people did not have. We have dating apps. We have, like I said, technology. We have everything basically, if we're being honest. and that makes us do less work into trying to put forth an effort into a relationship. So therefore, we just use what Google says. Like, how should I? Now, don't get me wrong. Google, Google can have its benefits, but using it too much or using it on every situation that happens in your situationship, relationship, whatnot, it's a little bad because you're relying on it a little too much. And hypothetically, if that gets taken away from you, you're all downhill from there. And I know I'm all over the place, but there's just some facts I need to say. And um, yeah, without that, you'll just be all over the place. And we've been so accustomed to it that we don't know how to live without it. And so it's kind of the same thing when it comes to being with a partner, right? Since that we've never experienced actual uh, love, which we're 20, of you know, we're not going to. Some will, don't get me wrong, some will, but it's very rare. But the majority won't. Some won't even give it a try, and I get it, you just want to experiment. You're young, you want to talk to multiple people, right? I get that. But do it in a reasonable sense. Don't have sex with 100 people either. Don't kiss 100 people at the same time. You can talk to them as much as you want. Some of them may end up as lifelong friends, but having a one night stand with each one of them, kissing them, that's just nasty. And it's disgusting and it's disrespectful to others. So, and that's another topic for another podcast, but I'm not going to get into it now. But yeah, it's not good. And I honestly don't see any progress happening no later than in the future because, oh, sorry about that. I was getting a call. Um, but I honestly don't see any of this changing in the near future, especially with this generation, especially what's going on now. I mean, what can we change? Us. We have to change. Question is, are we willing to change? And will true love ever be a thing again? I'm not denying it to say it won't be, but I'm saying it's going to be a long time before we see that again. And so all the young people, kids, um, even older people, if you guys are listening, no, you don't have to know exactly what you want, but at least have an idea of what you want before committing to a relationship, right? Um, I feel like, for example, talking to a person for a month or I guess 2 weeks, and then asking them to, be their partner. I don't think that's enough time. That's me personally. Because you don't know. I don't think you can, in my opinion, I don't think you can learn everything about a person in a 2 week span, even a 3 week span, even a month. You can't fully know a person within that time frame. I mean, it takes time. You have to see their good side, their bad side. During that month frame, they're only going to show you their good side because they want to get you. But once they have you, then that's when they release everything else, right? So I feel like you should talk for a little bit longer than that to try to get both of the sides. See if this is what you want. If it is, and if you're okay to deal with that, go all in, right? But if you're not, don't. But the fact is that you still will because you're physically attracted to the person and you only want one thing from them. And then that's when it becomes toxic. And it goes back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. And it ends nowhere. And it ends with someone STD and someone with a broken heart, some shot. People are crazy. It's 2023. People do shoot for relationships nowadays, which is crazy. Or jail. So I advise you to at least talk to the person. Try to start off as friends first. Start off as friends. right? If you like them as a friend level, then try to progress to a relationship. But try to, it's, I don't know, just don't rush it because rushing it is make it's only gonna get worse. So take your time, be patient. If you're serious about this person, if you're not serious, then just don't listen to me. But if you're genuinely serious about a person, or if you're talking to a person right now, and you genuinely want to get to know them, and you want to see where it goes, or at least try to give it a chance, if you're willing to take that risk, be patient. As much as I know, trust me, myself, as much as you want to go in to the 20 feet depth of water, you got to start off in the 5 feet, 3 feet, 2 feet. Because if you jump at 20 feet, not knowing how to swim, you're going to drown. So you need to gradually increase that. And then you're going to let yourself down because you did that, right? And then no one, you can't blame anyone else but yourself. And it sucks. It sucks. So if you genuinely want to get to know a person, or, you know, just be there, just be there for them. That's it. For one another. Get to know each other's good sides, bad sides, pros and cons, you know, and it will make you guys a lot stronger, in my opinion. But yeah, that is my issue with situationships. It's not real, man. It's not real. Um, and I don't know when it's gonna change, if it's gonna change. But we got to do something about it, and it's I don't know. I don't know. But if you guys enjoyed this podcast, this I guess topic that makes sense, let me know. And if you want me to get in more in depth for my podcast, you want longer episodes, also let me know because I don't want to make the episode too long where it gets boring and people stop listening after the first 5 minutes, which probably has happened in a couple, and it probably will happen in this one. And probably you won't hear me say this because you probably won't listen to it this long. But for those that do, I highly appreciate it. Thank you very much for giving me your attention, for letting me steal 22 to 25 minutes of your life away that you'll never get back. But yeah, once again, this is Sid, and this is Life Between the Young Guy. And I will see you next time. Peace.